Hi YouTubers, this is another video from your friendly neighborhood reviewer Evelyn. Today we're going to continue reviewing the period drama piece 1923, episode 5 and 6. By now we know that 1923 is the prequel to Yellowstone. I'm going to not keep on saying in each video that I do this. So if you want a quick reminder what the series entails, I recommend I'm going to create a playlist for 1923, so have a look at the playlist, what I've done so far from episode 1 till 6 so far. So we got left over from episode 4, Harrison Ford aka Jacob Dutton got shot. John Dutton Sr., the son of the original Dutton, he got shot in the eye and his wife got left widowed, which is very sad. And also Elizabeth, Jack's fiance, the son of John Dutton Sr., she got shot in the stomach. So episode 5 opens up with Elsa's voiceover, the daughter or the sister of John and Spencer. Well, I guess she's like a ghost in the afterlife, narrating her family's history. So Harrison Ford, he's still alive, thank God. He's there recuperating with 8 holes. And we have that Kara, Helen Mirren, is there looking after her husband. And we can see that what's the devastation that got left behind. And also we see what happens next after Spencer got read the letter by Alex. We have an opening shot of them also on the boat going to the nearest port in Africa for them to try to find a way how to get back to America. So Alex, she's in for the adventure. She's a bit scared. So they go to a shipping port, or like let's say, where you can book a ticket for a ship. And Spencer tells the guy behind the counter, I need help to get to America. And the counter guy or the helper, the ticket master says, well, you can't get any ships from here to America. Your best bet is to get a boat to go to London and from London to go off to America. But unfortunately, the kicker is it's a 3-week delay for Spencer and Alex to board the ship. And Spencer tells Alex, I can't wait that long. And Alex is like, okay, what's the other option? The interesting part in episode 5 is seeing, the honeymoon phase of Spencer and Alex's relationship, if that will wear off, to see what their differences are. And it's seen in episode 5 because there's a critical point in which Spencer is there in the bar talking to some of his contacts, I guess. Or not contacts, maybe, back in that time, you can probably approach some people, ask whether they know how to get to one certain place. And Spencer's talking to some grifter or maybe a middle guy that knows about the shipping business or whatever it's called, saying that, where can I get a stowaway, a passage on the boat? And the guy plainly tells him, and what about the girl? And this bit I was like, oh my God, for the times. He says, well, that's my bride. And I was like, oh. The strange thing about their romance is very classic, reading from a book. Classic romance is where they tell what they're feeling in their heart directly. And that's between Spencer and Alex. And basically the guy that Spencer was talking to says, there's another guy on a ferry, the ferry where it's a smaller boat, that is looking for a shipping mate. And the guy tells Spencer, do you have any experience working in the ship? And Spencer says no. So the guy's like, well, pretend that you do. So they go and meet him, and this actor, if you remember him from the John Wick movies and other movies where he usually plays the Russian, he's the captain of this ferry, and you can see that he's dying of lung cancer because he's there coughing up a lung, in which Spencer sees him spit into a cup and there's blood. So Spencer says, okay, I have experience. He tells the guy, honestly, I have no experience, I can learn, but I need to get to America. If you can help me. And the guy agrees. And he says, meet me by the boat 5 a.m. in the morning tomorrow. So we have that bit. We can see Spencer's mind that this is going to be dangerous trip. And we can see that critical point is where he wakes up and he's about to leave Alex there with some money to go back to London, but Alex was clearly awake, and they had that conversation in episode 5, and she stands up and tells Spencer, well, you just going to leave me? And he was like, no, I have a letter, I explained everything to you there in the letter. And Alex tells Spencer, tell me what the letter reads, what's the contents of the letter? And Spencer proceeds to tell Alex, the letter says, the journey is dangerous, I'll send for you when I'm safe. When you go back to London, there's some money for you to get back to London. And then Alex boldly tells Spencer There is no sending for me. It's either we do our life together or nothing. I won't give you a second chance to choose me. And Alex is there standing in her nightgown, and the tear rolls down. It was the character of Alex the most. For being English, well, I just found out that the actress Julia Shalper, well, very hard to pronounce her name. She's not even American. She's not even English. She's American, apparently. You could get the sense that was a little bit like a caricature, because I'm English despite my own accent. So okay, maybe I'm not putting out the most right thing, but English people are not known for being warm and cuddly. Accent very convincing. God, hell yeah, very convincing. And then she had the tear rolls down in her eye, and then Spencer's like, and that moment I was like, oh my god. Spencer's like, okay, grab your stuff, let's go, and they do. So the other part from episode 5, Kara is waiting patiently for Spencer to send word through a cable in that time, and in the beginning of episode 5, that's not the case. And also in episode 5 is to deal with another death that sadly happened. So Joan Dutton Sr., the father of Jack, he's dead, and the mum, Emma Dutton, is still alive, and she's not coping well. And we can clearly see she's going through a downward spiral. Kara's doing her best, but Emma doesn't want to hear none of it. Unfortunately, Emma takes her own life, and Jack is left with no parents. And understandably, he's very distraught, has no idea what to do. And of course, Jack is young, Elizabeth's young, and Elizabeth as well. Her mom came for her, like her dad died. And the dad's 6 feet under, I guess there was no love lost there. The mom of Elizabeth basically tells her, there's no wedding, come with me now to Boston, another town in another city in America. And Elizabeth's like, no, I'm gonna get married to Jack. And the mom doesn't like that. She ends up slapping Jack, and Kara slaps Elizabeth's mom, saying, I'll discipline my own nephew, as she storms off. So Elizabeth has made her bed. She's willing to go through this terrible time to be with Jack and hopefully still get married. But of course, Jack is not dealing with it. He's completely shut off, and Elizabeth confronts Jack, saying, I've lost my parents too. I'm an orphan as well, but we have to get through this together. Essentially, she says that. If not, just send me to Boston or whatever town that the mom mentioned, and we'll be done with it. And then she goes off after they have that confrontation in the kitchen. Jack, I think, snaps out of it, goes to Elizabeth and says, like, no, I love you, I'm sorry. And he basically tells Elizabeth, let's get married here in our own way in front of the mountains. So they have that kind of exchange. Jacob is already in episode 5 starting to recover, because in episode 5 we see a time jump as the seasons go by. So that's the clever thing about this series. I have a feeling that as they're waiting for Spencer, both stories are coinciding. I'm hoping for I'm not going to spoil what's going to happen in episode 7. So the point being, Jacob has to really get a sense of what to do next. He knows that the Irish guy Banner has gotten Donald Wiltfield behind him in some capacity. He doesn't know specifically it's Donald Wiltfield, but he knows that the Irish got somebody backing him. So he goes and encourages Kara to interview for the livestock agents. He's okay with the plan. We can see how strong he believes in his wife. And of course, trying to settle Jack's thirst for vengeance. So the end of episode 5, Spencer and Alex are there on the boat with the guy that they're trying to navigate, and then they see a ghost ship floating in the sea, in which Spencer's like, oh, what the heck happened there, to the captain, and the captain tells Spencer that the crew had to abandon ship because there was a leak, but the ship never sank, so that goes around there. So they have a good conversation in this ferry. Alex is there, Spencer, they were talking nicely with the captain, and of course the 3-hour watch, so every 3 hours somebody's watching the ship. It's Alex's first turn, but Spencer stays with her. The kind of passionate love between Spencer and Alex is very honest, and that's very rare nowadays. Spencer just tells Alex everything that's on his heart, and also Alex tells Spencer the same way. And I think that's beautiful type of honesty, and I believe nowadays that's something people lack, of how that sometimes honesty about feelings can go a long way. So when it's their turn, she basically tells Spencer, don't do that ever again, to leave her behind. And then Spencer tells Alex, it's not because I doubted you, it's my fear that something will happen. In which Da, da, da. As they're going for the next shift and Spencer and Alex go down to the bottom of the boat to rest, Alex is there resting and Spencer tells the captain, okay, it's your turn. But he sees the captain there sprawled out on the bed and there's blood all over the pillow. And when he wakes up, he's there coughing more. And then Spencer tells the captain, look, old man, you need more rest. And the captain, the actor, in that moment, I was thinking, oh, this is John Wick all over again. He tells Spencer in so many few words that this is my boat, so I'm going to do what I want. So I was like, okay. So they're both there resting, but something's not right. Like, Spencer feels the ship has stopped moving, something along the lines of that. So he goes up to the top deck and he finds the captain spread, basically dead. And of course, he maydays for help, or radios for help. He's like, mayday, mayday, help, help. And then whoever's on the other side of the line, probably the nearest boat or shipping liner, says, what's wrong? And then Spencer says, the captain has expired. I was like, I would like to be referred that way when my time is. Oh, I've expired. Well, what a nice, eloquent way to say that. In that moment, Spencer sees that the ferry's going to crash into the ghost ship. He tries his best to move the boat, and there's a cool scene in which the boat ends up flipping and Spencer's flying there in the boat, and there's Alex on the bottom deck. Now, I am going to go back and forth with episode 5. After that kind of conversation that Spencer and Alex had when Spencer was going to leave Alex, they go down to the boat and Alex tells Spencer, have you sent a message to your family? And he says, well, I can't from where I am. And Alex tells Spencer, well, the ships can send a message through radio, in which he does. He manages to send a message through radio that would get as a cable to America to tell his auntie, I've read the letter and I'm coming back. So at the end of episode 5, the boat has flipped over and we're like thinking, Jesus, they can't kill these two characters. I'm sorry to say, but Spencer and Alex's story is so much more fascinating than what's going back in Montana. It's still very fascinating because Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren, what a powerhouse of acting that they're doing. So at the end of the episode, as Kara is going with her buggy and the horse and the other men to the post office to see if there's any word, she gets encountered with Donald Whitley. He's there in his automobile and Banner's there. And then Donald kind of makes conversations with Kara, but Kara knows, don't trust this guy. He goes and says, oh, I haven't seen your husband, Jacob Dutton. And she's like, okay. And then Donald basically tells Kara, oh, I want to talk to him. Won't be the best time I can talk to him. And then she's like, well, I don't know, he's probably busy. And then Donald makes a sly remark saying, well, Ryan's wife meant to keep calendars for their husbands, aren't they? And the Kara says, well, not this one. And then she goes off. And in episode 5, she goes into the post office and the woman finally brings word, the cable as they say, and she reads it and it reads exactly, Aunt Kara, I've read your letter, I'm coming home, Spencer.